Morning, church.
Morning.
Man, you have no idea how excited I am to be here with you this morning. Just to get a few things out of the way, Ron said that I was here for 17 years. It was actually 18. Actually, a little more than 18, but I totally understand because a couple of those years we'd all like to forget. Yeah, and I remember Ron coming into an elders meeting, and it was probably 15 years ago, probably 18, 20 years ago, and he says, guys, I have a really good idea. And we were all stunned into silence, of course, because we were all thinking the same thing. It's about time Ron had a good idea. And he said, how about we have no tie in July? And he looked at me and said, Wes, you don't even have to wear a tie in July. And I thought that was a really great idea. I did wear a tie today. It's a bow tie. Just so you know. Let me give you a quick update on my family, because Micah grew up in this church. And I remember when he would sit right there, from the age of 4, would sit right there on the front row. And I'd be up here speaking, and he wanted to be in here so bad. I said, but you have to behave yourself. You're going to sit there, you got to pay attention, you can't be... And I remember there was one time, and Ron and Anita sat in the second row in those days, and I thought it was the first time I was going to have to come out of the pulpit and discipline my son. And then I saw Ron's big hand come across the top of that pew and just grab Micah by the shoulder, and Micah was like... And he was a perfect gentleman the rest of the day, you know? Yeah. So quick update on him. He's still in the Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Micah Wright, and he is... He's moving. They live in Virginia Beach. They've been there for a couple of years, and he's moving this fall. I thought he was going to move closer, but he's moving so far west, he's actually going to be east. He's moving to Japan. The whole family's to Japan. Yeah. Married this little German girl. I found her when he was over in Frankfurt, Germany, and I went over to meet him and meet her, and she had a little boy, and I couldn't tell who Micah was more in love with, the boy or the girl, you know? And he's my grandson now, and I'm Opa, and Joe, by the way, is G.I. Joe. and Sissy speaks 5 languages. German, of course, and she's half Thai, so she speaks Thai, and she speaks English, and she speaks Spanish, and she speaks French. And so Micah always knows when he's in trouble or really blown it or done something stupid. He just doesn't know to what degree he's in trouble until he figures out what language he's being spoken to. You know, so like that. And my daughter is with us this weekend, and just so you know, last night was her prom. Yeah, and I said, honey, whatever you decide, that's okay. You can stay and go to prom, or you can come with us, and she chose to be with us, and I'm really proud of her for that. And Sam, when we got out there, Sam got big into horses, and I kept telling her, you get up on these animals, eventually you're going to come off the hard way. And she has a few times. I have to tell you this one story. She had this white Mustang named Siska. And it was fall, probably not the best time of the year to introduce a horse to an outside arena, after being in an inside arena for most of the summer. And she went and we learned that there are only 2 things that a horse is afraid of. Things that move and things that don't. And Siska decided to zig when Sam wanted her to zag, and Sam face planted at the far end of that arena. And there were a couple of the other girls, 3 of the other girls that gathered around her, and I went running across the arena to her, and she's sitting kind of cross-legged, kind of hunched over like this. And she's just covered head to toe in mud. And mud was coming out of her mouth, and out of her nose, and out of her eyes, and out of her ears. And I said, honey, are you okay? She said, yeah. I said, really? Are you okay? Nothing broken, everything's fine? Yes, Dad, I'm okay. And I said, well, then can I take a picture? He said, no. She wiped the mud off her face and got back up on that horse, and by the time she was done, I was on the other side of the fence, terrified of my daughter. And that was the most compliant 1,200-pound animal you have ever seen that has ever walked the face of the earth. So that's Sam. Well, it's so good to be here with you. And, I haven't been back to this place in this room for 11 years. And I love you people, but can you believe that it's been 11 years? And I started, as thinking about this, I started reading over some of those sermons I gave in this place, and then I understood why it had been 11 years. I especially read through the first couple of years of those sermons, and as many of you may know, when I came to the Mount Auburn Christian Church, I was in trouble. I was in trouble. I didn't know it at the time, but I was. And I hadn't been here long, 9 months. 9 months, when my troubles became manifest, and I resigned as the preacher of this church. 9 months in. And I remember the special elders meeting that happened that night back in the little room back over there. And I came choking back tears to those elders, and the story just poured out, and I resigned. And those elders sat there, most of them in shock, and they dismissed me. And they said that I was to go home. Said, before you do anything, you go home and you wait for us to talk to you. So I went back to the little duplexes right over there that I was living in. And I sat in the living room in the dark and did nothing. And it was 2 or 3 hours later that a knock came at my door, and I answered, and there stood all of the elders of this church, who walked in, uninvited I might add, into my living room. And in short, they said that they would not let me quit. In fact, they gave me very clear directions. Number one, they said, I was to preach on Sunday. I think it was a Thursday when that meeting took place. Ron, do you remember? I think it was a Thursday. But they would not allow me to take any time off. I wanted to, but they wouldn't let me. Maybe the most important thing they ever did for me. 2, after worship, the elders would dismiss all the guests, and myself included. I was at home. They would dismiss all the guests. And third, they had prepared a statement that they would read out loud to the whole church. And I would then, I was to return Sunday night and preach again. Talk about church discipline. I mean, I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. I said, okay, but I reserve this one out. And that is, if I hear one, just one, negative reaction to any of this, I will resign again. I don't want to hurt the church. And they were fine with that. So that's what they did and what I did. And do you know, to this day, I have yet to hear one negative comment about any of that. So I love this church. You have to know. You need to know that. And when I say that I pray for MACC every day, I promise you, I do. I pray for you every single day. I pray for you. And I pray for Casey. Because he needs it. First of all, and I'm going to tell you why. He's way too tall. He's way too handsome. That could be a model. He's way too handsome, and he has too much hair. And everybody knows any self-respecting pastor should be short, fat, and bald. And then I got to thinking about Jim Grady. And he's like 50 years older than me. And he still has all that hair. So I decided right then and there that I should start growing hair too. A guy should be able to grow hair where he can. Just so you know. No, I pray for Casey, and I am thrilled beyond words that he's your preacher. And so and his wonderful family, I pray for them too. And I know that you will care for them and you love them, and I know that you will pray for them every day too. And if you're not, you start today, right? And because he carries things in his heart for you. He's your pastor. He carries things in his heart for you, and he loves you too. And sometimes the things he carries before the Father in prayer. And some of those things are hard things. Things that cannot be spoken. So he carries a heavy burden on most days, just so you know. He would never tell you, but just so you know, he does. And he does it gladly because he is your servant. He is your minister. So you pray for him. The burdens, the stresses, the cares, those things can eat up a minister. So you take care of him. You take care of him half as well as you took care of me, and you will have a great, great pastor on your hands, and he will love you, and you will love him all. Now I say all that to say, that I read those early sermons that I gave the first couple of years, and they were awful. I mean, I was dealing with an awful thing, and frankly, I was angry with God. And that came through lots of those sermons. And you guys came anyway. And you love me anyway. You saved my life. Literally. And I am so grateful. You will never know. So anyway, I hope I speak a little better now. And I hope the words I have for you on this day will encourage you and give you hope and bless each and every one of you. And in doing that, I hope to remind you why the Mount Auburn Christian Church exists. I want to remind you because what you've done for me and for so many others, whether in this room right now or have gone on from this place to other places and other locations and all that kind of thing, what you've done for me and so many others have moved into other places. I want you to keep doing it. And I know you will. And I hope and pray you will continue to do so. And to do that, I'm going to take you to a text in your Bible that you probably wouldn't think of as the kind of text that one would use for the 50th anniversary of a church. But I'm going to do it anyway because this is the kind of thing that I do. And I think you'll see why as we get into the story from the life of Jesus. That's so incredibly important. And you'll find it in John chapter 8.